Hey guys, it's Wheeling, the Tomboy Gamer here, and today we're actually going to discuss an episode which was from Arthur. Okay, so if you don't know this episode is April 9th. It's actually taking place after the 9/11 attacks back in 2001, back 22 years ago. Okay, I'm very sorry for the noise right here. I know. Okay, but let's get started. So April 9th is actually an episode where something bad happens. The episode was actually released on the 29th of November 2022. It is the 7th season of the 10th episode. It's actually the season finale, and as well as this is also a two-part episode, if you don't know. So basically, Arthur does have two-part episodes, and they're mainly full, but sometimes they're like divided into segments. Sometimes there will be a word from us kids, but in some episodes they really don't feature that one, because when you watch some of the Arthur episodes, they would feature like a word from us kids, but sometimes they don't. Okay. So when a fire was caused by some faulty wiring, it destroys the teacher's lounge. The Lakewood Elementary students had to move to Mighty Mountain School as well, Sue Ellen was heartbroken because the journal was destroyed, and Francine mentions that she has been using the journal ever since she was in the first grade. Binky has to behave himself in a calm manner, even when the flames terrified him. Buster feels totally left out because he slept through the entire thing. Mr. Reed is actually the catering chef because of his job. He escaped safely, but now Arthur worries about his dad's safety, whether he gets into an accident. Okay, so basically on April 9th, it was a beautiful morning at school, and Mr. Ratburn actually starts the day when passing out the graded test papers. But the things start to go wrong when he smells smoke into the fire alarm, and Sue begins to evacuate. Sue Ellen realizes that she left her backpack and has no time to retrieve her journal. Binky catches a glimpse of Mr. Morris closing the doors on the flames. However, Mr. Morris had injured his leg in the fire. He was taken to the hospital. And when Arthur gets worried about his dad, he wants to get in and save his father. But it was too dangerous. Now, eventually what I was saying is this: never go inside a burning building to save someone. It could be really dangerous, and it can be very, very risky. Eventually, during the 9/11 attacks, firefighters went into the building. They told the people to stay calm. If someone was in the fire, they shouldn't retrieve it back. They shouldn't never retrieve an item like that. They should go and follow the safety rules, Okay. So basically what happens is that Francine actually explains what happened. Buster feels dismayed that he actually slept through what was pretty much the biggest event of the year. When they were at Arthur's treehouse, the gang actually talks about the fire. Francine struggles to comprehend that the school was destroyed. It was just like yesterday. But Lakewood was going to be rebuilt and renovated. The students will be attending Mighty Mountain Elementary School, and Binky tries to cover up the fear of the fire. He leaves, taking out Buster's ice cream of annoyance. While Arthur, Buster, Francine, Muffy, and the brain look up and hear Sue Ellen in the treehouse, still crying over the journal being destroyed. She finally doesn't understand that Sue Ellen's feelings and claims that she has to buy a new journal. But ever since then, Sue Ellen had that journal since the first grade. But Buster remarks that he had kept a cupcake in the first grade. When things don't seem to improve when Binky panics after watching a Bionic Bunny episode with the fiery villain Hothead, Muffy fails to cheer up Sue Ellen with a brand new journal. After that, Buster and Arthur were getting into a fight, but because his dad could have been really hurt in the fire, Buster decided to confiscate his feelings and talk to his mom, who gets an idea for him to do in the next day. Arthur falls asleep the other night and dreams that his dad is in danger as well. David apparently assures him that the school is safe. The cause of it was a faulty wiring in the school. It could happen anywhere. Arthur goes to sleep, but he has a nightmare about the dad being attacked by a giant squid in the convention. When Buster visits Mr. Morris at the hospital, they both have asthma and loved chocolate. It looks like a new friendship had started. When their temporary classroom was at Mighty Mountain, the students prepare for the test, and Buster finally talks to his friends about Mr. Morris, and Sue Ellen finally accepts her new journal Muffy bought her. She feels a bit better now with a personalized cover, locket, and pen. When a mysterious yellow gloved hand was in the hallway, is seen pulling to the fire alarm. It causes the student to gasp in fear. So basically, the student was actually Binky. Binky Barnes was the one who pulled the fire alarm. And I can tell, fire alarm for pulling is no prank. You can get seriously arrested for doing that. If not, you will go to jail or juvie. It depends on your age. But if you pull the fire alarm, yes, this is a serious crime. And I don't want anyone to do that. Anyone, alright? But this time we're actually talking about the 9/11 attacks for this episode, April 9th. So what actually really happened? So, yeah. So when the whole students and the school was evacuated, Francine reveals that it was just a false alarm and Binky had played the prank. Binky turned out that he was the one pulling the fire alarm and accidentally gave himself away. Mr. Haney suspends Binky for this incident. He apologizes to the Mighty Mountain principal and the students as well, but he punishes Binky by doing community service with Mr. Frensky. When Buster comes to Mr. Morris, he tells that he worked as a dog groomer, but Mr. Morris points out that his condition is more serious because of his old age. Once his leg heals up completely, it will never be the same. But David actually prepares to go to the aquarium, but he realizes that he's afraid that his dad may get hurt. At Arthur's age, Grandma Dora was in a car accident. Although she wasn't hurt, David had feared for a long time that his mother would have gone into a car accident. David can crumple up waste pieces of paper and throw them into the waste basket. It decides that he could throw successfully than the more shots he missed. On April 18th, Sue Ellen was actually struggling to get meaningfully right about the new journal in the park. When she writes some ideas, all the Lakewood students, including D.W., had painted the school back. When Lakewood Elementary was reopened, Francine becomes the interviewer. Buster wants the bathrooms to be clean for Mr. Morris when he recovers. However, Binky refuses to talk to Francine. He still cannot remember the fire after hallucinating smoke in the new principal's office. He worries as Mr. Haney calls out to them. Binky was crying, walking the sidewalk. Mr. Frensky reminds him that when he was Binky's age, he probably ended up in a fire incident that happened, but he wasn't hurt. But then in Mr. Ratburn's new classroom, they had cake in the middle of the class, but Mr. Ratburn had told Buster that Mr. Morris is no longer in this school, He's now moving to New Mexico with his daughter, who lives on the ranch as well. And Mr. Morris was actually leaving. So before leaving, Mr. Morris had gave Buster his old accordion, so he can visit Buster anytime. But that night, Arthur and Buster talked within the walkie-talkies about the changes of the fire that causes, including the retirement of Mr. Morris. David had returned home from catering Mr. Crosswire's birthday party. He was safe and sound. Buster then placed the clementine over the new accordion over the walkie-talkie. The episode finishes when Sue Ellen actually writes in her journal, nearing 1 month since April 9th. Although she wants to experience another fire, Sue Ellen is glad that her friends made it through the sticky situation. When they stick together, they just knew anything. Sue Ellen turns off the lights and goes to bed, finishing the episode. Okay, so when the kids apparently talk in this episode, from us US kids, those kids were talking about the fire. So basically what you need to do is this: don't panic, try to help someone in the fire, no matter what age they are. And eventually, if you see a school fire, warn everyone immediately, pull the fire alarm for emergencies, but don't pull this one as a prank. I'm warning everyone, never pull the fire alarm as a prank. Even though, yes, I know people would do that. People won't use their mind. Is it correct? Is it wrong to pull the fire alarm? Yes, it is wrong. So you don't want anyone to do that. You could get suspended or expelled, you know? 9/11 is actually not a joke. So don't joke about it, okay? I don't want anyone to be joking about 9/11 because one, it is a very, very sadful event, and I don't want anyone to be joking about this. I don't find it funny when someone jokes about it. And yes, this is an education purpose where we talk about some events that really happened, especially Arthur, you know. I was really sad that Sue Ellen actually lost her journal, and Buster, well, he just got over it, you know. Like this. Not only that, but we're really sad that Mr. Morris is no longer the principal because of his retirement, and he's moving to New Mexico with his daughter, you know. Okay, so I think that's all for now, and this is me.